Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it put together live, send me a message today. Alrighty, so we're back here again tonight on Friday night. So usually a little bit of a quieter night for people watching the stream live. But that doesn't matter. We're building a PC for a local guy here tonight. So basically same suburb. Not actually the same suburb. It's right next door basically. So normally when you see me build a PC, normally we're usually shipping it away. Sort of 70% of the time we'll be shipping the PC off to someone else in another state of Australia. Mainly New South Wales and Victoria, but also the other states as well. Just proportional to the Australian population, basically. But as we are based in Brisbane, a little bit more advertising spend in Brisbane, so 30% of our sales are coming from Queensland and sort of the Brisbane, South Queensland kind of area, or North New South Wales, I guess you could kind of include in that as well. But yes, anyway, so we're going to be building this PC. Lucky young lad has an awesome mum, absolutely awesome mum, who's brought in this awesome PC, and she's made sure that he's going to get a decent PC, which she hasn't skimped on this. Like you got your average parent out there and stuff, and they want to buy a gaming PC for their kid, but most of them don't spend quite this much. Most of them are under $2,000 when mum and dad wants to come and chip in and buy the PC on their own. So I would consider this to be an awesome gesture from mum. So kudos to Jeanette, who is the mum. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking shit and get started with the actual PC build now. So we'll go through the components here quickly. So we've got the Ryzen 5600G 6-core 12-thread CPU. We have 32 gigabytes of Corsair RAM, 3200 MHz CL16 memory. We have a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD, a 2 terabyte hard drive. We have the Gigabyte UD B550M DS3H AC motherboard. We have the MSI RTX 3060 Ti Ventus 2X and an 850 watt power supply here. So even if this guy wanted to upgrade his graphics card to something more powerful, having the 850 watt there gives you the capacity to upgrade something more powerful than 3060 Ti. Because this Ryzen 5600G, this will keep up fine with like RTX 3080 and stuff like that. So that's why we've included it here. We didn't really need 850 watts for this build, but it's a good thing to include if, potentially in, 2 years down the track, maybe you're going to want to put a more powerful graphics card in this PC. So that's why we went with it. It's not too much extra to get the extra wattage there. So in the grand scheme of things, it just makes sense to, give you that upgrade option for the future. Alrighty, and then finally the case. We're going to be putting in an Antec D700 Flux case. This is an excellent case. Comes with the 3 RGB fans in the front there. It's got a 6-device fan and RGB controller built into the case there at the back. You can fit a 360mm all-in-one liquid cooled radiator up top there, so no sort of capacity issues when it comes to upgrading things like that in this case. It's a full-size ATX case, and yeah, if unless you have a preference for something smaller, if your budget is right, you're definitely going to get a recommendation for this. What's up, babe? What are you trying to show me? For what? Oh, your jumper. I thought you were trying to show me something like mission critical there. Like, I'm like, what the fuck's going on? What? She's bought a jumper from one of our favourite YouTubers. That Chapter. I don't know if anyone who's watching right now has heard of That Chapter. Awesome guy. If you like true crime, definitely check out That Chapter. You should be able to remember That Chapter, because if you like true crime, just think TC, That Chapter, true crime. It's the same. So definitely check that out. Anyway, Christine's very, very excited to get the hoodie that has his main catchphrase on it, which is, let's give it a goo. So anyway, I'm gonna stop talking shit now, because I've gone through all the specs. Yes, no, That Chapter's awesome, man. He's a good guy. Alrighty.
Ashley says, hey mate, all I get to do is listen to you because I can't see stuff falling a bit high from my surgery.
Oh no.
How's it going, man?
Hey man, good to have you with us on a Friday night. And Jeanette's there. Jeanette's the awesome mum that organised this PC for the young fella.
Says, oh, thanks. You're an awesome mum.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, I'll call you out. I'll call you out if your spend is a little bit higher than the average mum. I'll call you out on that. So this Ryzen 5600G is actually a really good CPU if you're on a really, really tight budget and you can't afford a graphics card, because it's like the best onboard graphics that money can buy right now. Yep.
Hopefully you can do mine tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it, to be honest.
Richie, yeah, I'm pretty sure his is down for tomorrow. Tomorrow we've got a big day on tomorrow. We've got another awesome parent who's organised a couple of, relatively cheapish gaming PCs. We haven't spent ridiculous amounts of money, but he's got two of them because it's for him and his son to do sim racing together. So he's organised two identical systems. So we're going to be building two of the exact same PC, and then later on we've got the main event, which is old mate who you were just mentioned before. Sorry, I'm terrible with names and I've completely spaced on his name. Is it Jason?
Sorry?
Who's the other person who commented? Richie. Oh no. Richie hasn't bought yet. We've got to do a consultation. Yeah, Richie's been going through some absolute rough shit. Sorry, I got you mixed up with someone else because I'm building 3 PCs tomorrow. But the main event tomorrow night is Jason's PC. So that's got like RTX 3080, and it's a Leon Lee Dynamic 11, but we're gonna do not that one. This one we're doing all Corsair ML fans. So the same spec fans that come with the IQ H150i 360mm cooler from Corsair. So they've got magnetic levitation fans that come with them on the cooler, and I've got another 6 of those ML fans. I think they might look just slightly different to the ones included on the cooler, but basically they're the same thing. So we're going to have a Leon Lee Dynamic 11, but it's going to be really, really, really quiet. Quieter than average. Yeah.
Do you think my i7-10700K will have a bottleneck with the 4000 series?
10700K bottleneck with a 4000 series. Oh, look, until we can conclusively see what the 4000 spec's actually going to be, it's all a little bit of speculation. But 10th gen Intel is sort of just slightly below what's ideal. So what we've got right here, the Ryzen 5600G, that's about where ideal stands with 30 series. So I would expect that with 40 series that would be, you know, pushed up a little bit. But like I said, you know, we really sort of have to wait and see exactly what 40 series is like in the flesh, because, you know, it's all well and good for there to be rumors and speculation about things, but until we actually see what happens, I mean, you know, there's so much talk about, you know, what's going to happen with pricing right now, what's going to happen with 30 series when 40 series gets released and stuff. You know, there are people who think that basically when 40 series gets released, it'll be basically like 20 series pricing all over again, and 30 series will get even cheaper, and it will just be a perfect happy world, and the consumer will win out. I'm very, very skeptical of that position, because in my opinion, the board partners, the AIBs, Gigabyte, Asus, etc., they learnt a very dangerous lesson during the GFC, during COVID and the whole freaking shit that we just went through the last couple of years. Basically, the lesson that they learnt was that, yes, gamers will pay $4,000 for a graphics card for the flagship to have the absolute best. That's what they learned. That's the lesson that they learned. So if you think that pricing is going to go back down, you know, to where it was before COVID, with like, you know, the 40 series, I would expect pricing like COVID for the 40 series cards, and I would expect 30 series probably to stay roughly the same, because they're pushing up they're releasing a higher segment. I don't think they're going to touch the pricing of 30 series by a great deal, but it all depends how much stock they have to clear, because rumor has it they've got a shitload of GA102 stock just sitting around. So that's 3080 Ti, 3090, 3090 Ti. So, what's up, babe?
Actually wanted to know an MSI motherboard,
Oh no, it's a gigabyte. It's a gigabyte. This one sort of trades blows with the MSI B550 VDH Pro Wi-Fi. So I'd actually rate the MSI version of this board sort of at this price point as being better than the Gigabyte one. Just for a couple of reasons, but the thing is, I'll buy these sort of more generic boards that we use a lot of. I'll buy them like in bulk, and so if I get a good deal on the MSI ones 1 month, then we go with MSI. If I get a good deal on Gigabyte, because the result for the end user is the same essentially. The differences are a couple of little things that I need to consider, like the number of fan headers on the board, the number of RGB headers on the board, the physical location of some of the headers on the board changes how I might want to sort of wire it up and stuff like that. So there's a few little things like that to consider with them. You know, what you got to remember is that basically these two boards tick a lot of the same boxes, which is AM4 socket, dual channel memory, 4 slots, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, 2 M2 slots, and that's basically the core of it. Outside of that, the other features that you get, they're not quite the same, but it's got that same core. and it's at that same sort of price at about 130 Australian dollars. So gives you the sort of idea. This is like, I don't like to use motherboards sort of cheaper than this. You can get ones that are cheaper. They don't have the Wi-Fi. They sometimes just have the 2 DIMM slots and stuff like that. You know, I try to avoid using them. This is like basically the cheapest sort of motherboard that we like to use, just because it gives you, gives you the options for upgrading your memory, adding extra M2 drives, etc., etc. So, yeah.
John says today from Switzerland.
Hey John, how you going? Good to have you with us. But our board is all prepped and ready to go there. So we're going to have this M2 slot mounted. So we're going to be able to add another high-speed SSD if we want to upgrade the storage at some point. Not that we're really going to need to. We've got a 1 terabyte. Actually, that's a decent library of games between those 2 storage devices. So, yeah.
Richie says, just let me know if you have time to do a consultation tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, Richie, yeah, I definitely do, man. You're like top of my list for tomorrow. Because, yeah, we've been speaking for a little while. Yeah, that's the good fun thing about this time of year is that, yeah, everyone wants a PC at this time of year. And that's like the same through like the whole industry and stuff. I got some of my friends have they've over the last 2 weeks they've got slightly bigger businesses than mine, but over the last 2 weeks they've sold 200 plus.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, a lot of them are cheap pre-builds. A lot of shit to assemble. It's a lot of crap they have to assemble and stuff like that.
These people that have staff, yeah.
Yeah. These are bigger businesses than us. And yeah, these people with employees and stuff like that. But it just goes to show what the market does right now.
Well, as soon as people get their tax money, they're like, what can I spend this on?
Basically. Tax refunds like basically just forced saving in a lot of ways, and like more and more people have private health, and you get a big chunk of that back on your tax.
Yeah.
So you pay all these private health fees throughout the year, and then you get a massive amount back on your tax. So it's just like forced saving for a lot of people. Like a tax refund. See, I don't because I'm an independent sole trader, so I don't have like a payee. I don't get a group certificate sort of thing. I haven't paid any tax all year, so when I do my tax, we work out how much I have to pay. I pay GST all year, but then I've got to pay tax on my own earnings. And that's what gets worked out annually for me. So I don't get a fucking refund. I get to look at my hard-earned money for the year and go, how much do I get to keep? That's me. That's me. That's exactly how it goes down.
Ashley says one-man army.
Yes.
Pretty much do.
Pretty much, but yeah, Christine's probably going to help in the future.
Yes. Well, I have 2 weeks notice that I'm dropping my hours back.
Yes.
They know it's happening.
Yeah.
Everyone knows. I can't wait till I'll have to drive down that stupid highway like 5 days a week.
Yep.
Trying to enter that stupid entrance where everybody does like 60 going onto the highway. That's safe, right? Speaking of safe, we had somebody driving down the wrong side of the road.
Oh yes,
tonight.
I'm driving. So I'm driving down. I'm driving down Logan Road at like 8 Mile Plains, right? So if you don't know, if you don't know, look, if you're not from this part of town, right? You don't know what the fuck Logan Road is at 8 Mile Plains. Logan Road at 8 Mile Plains is a dual carriageway, one like 2 lanes each way, separated 80km/h zone. So a high speed main road, right? And so I'm just driving along, just coming home, you know, wanting to get home, and you know, there was a high ace van that was like driving along with me. He's just freaking speeding, man, just like foot to the floor, right? And I'm just sort of behind him, traveling, you know, I don't know. He was flying. I couldn't keep up with him at all, basically. Anyway, but I'm just driving along, and I'm coming up over a crest, and then all of a sudden I'm in the right lane of this dual carriageway high-speed road, coming up over this crest, and all of a sudden I see these 2 fucking headlights coming straight for me, like I'm just driving straight into him, and I've gone, holy shit, and I've like checked in my rear, like my rear mirror on my left-hand side, and I could see the other guy who was travelling near me. He's obviously seen what was going on, because by the time I looked at him, he'd started braking heavily, and then I instantly moved over to the left-hand lane. Just beep. Fuck.
To the right of us, there's a cement wall.
Yeah, it's a separated dual carriageway 80km/h zone, and he's driving up the wrong way, and it's like over a crest.
Right, for some reason, into that, like, they were like, oh, I can't turn right from my side of the road, so I'll just drive up the wrong side.
Yeah, I wasn't impressed.
No.
That, yeah. That pissed me off. I didn't get scared. I didn't freaking freak out or anything like that. I've done fucking defensive driving and all that fucking shit. I wasn't scared. I just saw it, and then I was just like, right, evasive action. And then as soon as I'd done the evasive action, then I just started to get pissed off that this fucker is on the road putting my life and everyone else's life at risk.
Down the road, and then somebody else pulls directly.
Yeah, then another person pulls out directly in front as well, and I'm just, I was.
Tonight's the night we die.
Yeah, I was so pissed with the second guy that pulled out in front of me. I didn't even beep. I just went around him. There was no one next to me, but I was just like, my fucking god.
Ashley says, holy shit, man.
Yeah, good fun.
At least they had their headlights on.
Yeah, at least they had their headlights on, and so I could see them straight away. I noticed them as soon, like they came over the crest, I saw them straight away, and then there was about 100 meters or so for me to react. So, you know, it wasn't really close call. It wasn't like a super close call or anything like that, but it was just the sort of thing where you're driving along, you're not thinking about it, you're 5 minutes from home.
You don't expect somebody to be driving up the wrong side of the fucking road.
You're not thinking someone's driving up the wrong side of the road. That's just not what goes through your mind.
That's
right?
happened to us twice now while driving around. It happened on the ICB once, coming home from work. Remember that?
On the ICB?
Yeah, when we were living on the north side still. We were turning onto Kelvin Road, and there was somebody coming, like, driving up the on-ramp as we, the off-ramp rather.
I don't remember that.
Don't you?
No.
No, I was driving.
My memory's just getting shitter as I get older.
I was driving that night.
Oh, you were
That's
driving
why.
me. That's why I don't remember it.
Was it day or night? It was night time when today's incident.
Yeah.
It
This
like
was.
6 o'clock-ish.
No, it was about 7. It was about 7:15. Yeah, so it was like pitch black. But yes, you've always got to be alert, right? You've always got to be paying attention.
Someone's always going to be a fucker.
Yeah, there's always going to be the risk of that person being out there.
You barely knocked down the back down, right? There's always a beat on the back. And a big cat. And I think that's that.
Alrighty, so we'll assemble our modular power cable. Sorry, modular power supply. And we'll have some leftover power cables. Yeah, that'll be left over, that'll be left over. Use that. Use that. Left over, use that. Alright. So I'm just going to put a zip tie around these, and we're gonna stash them away for use in the future. Yep. What's up?
George says hi there to Uncle Steve.
Hey George, how you going?
Long says, hey, can I ask you a question? I really need help with my policy.
Yeah, ask away. If I can't answer it live,
If it's a long question, send it to Timothy and message. That's probably best.
yeah. If it's a long question,
It's a new custom PC just built 30 minutes ago.
yeah. Well, shoot, because I'm assuming you've got some sort of you're having some sort of problem with getting it to post or something like that. So yeah, ask away.
I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Alrighty. Okay. Sweet. Alrighty, so there's our power cables that we need, and these ones here for use in the future. we'll stash them away just down there underneath all the other cables there. And they can be used in the future if ever you want to make any upgrades.
Okay. Boots. No video.
Are you hooked up through the graphics card? Because unless you have a system with onboard graphics, the motherboard, HDMI and DisplayPort are not active. That is the number one mistake that people make when they turn on their computer for the first time. And I get that it's kind of confusing because, you know, you plug everything else into the motherboard, right? Yeah.
Ashley says I've seen loads of bucks who drive on highways at midnight with no lights at all.
Yeah. That's an easy way to get pulled over, breath tested and drug tested by the police. Driving around with no lights on. That's like the number one reason why random people get pulled over
We
at
live in
night.
a highly migrant area and we see a lot of that at night time.
Yeah.
You go down to the shops, it's like counter people who don't have their lights on.
Yeah, I know. It's like, come on guys. I've heard from actual cops that is legitimately the sort of thing that they'll just be driving around and they'll see you without lights on, they'll be like, bang, he's on the piss, he's on the drugs.
Ashley says he's going to go now and try and dust off.
No worries, man. Have a good one.
I think you'll better soon.
Yes.
Long says no, I use a GTX 1060. So you plugged into the
Yes. So you need to plug into the graphics card. And if you're still not getting anything, then you have some sort of
maybe
some
try a
other
different cable if it's not working. Is the RAM still right?
Yeah, check. I mean, you got to check everything, man. If you've got a problem with it not posting, and it's not just something simple like you plugged into the wrong ports, then it's a case of you have to.
Like, what sort of things do you have plugged in? Make sure you just have like your keyboard and mouse and monitor first. Don't try and plug in it like headset and stuff like that at first.
Every
That'll
other
stuff it
device,
up, probably.
yeah. Any non-essential device shouldn't be connected to it. But yeah, I mean, you've got to go rule everything out. That's how diagnosis works. You don't rule things in, you rule things out. So you assume everything can be fucked until you have reason to believe that no, that is working completely fine. That is working completely fine. That is working completely fine. So it's a process of elimination. But yeah, you start with the concept in your mind that it all could be fucked. Could be anything until you have reason, until you've actually tested that independent system and been like, yep, that's completely fine. So that's how it works. Alrighty, around the back here, we are all looking pretty good. I hooked up our SATA power for our hard drive and the SATA power for our controller. I just tucked the rest of those cables back down there with those other ones, and then we're just left with our CPU, graphics card, motherboard, and then the RGB and fan controller plugs to allow us to adjust the fan speed and RGB on our fans and RGB devices that we plug into that. And so as you can see there, we've got 3 more RGB things that we can hook up there, and we've got a couple more fans that we can hook up down there on the other side there as well. So that's that included controller that I'm talking about. Really, really good and handy to have. It'll just make your life so much easier. I mean, the way that this is set up, we can then just plug these cables in at the bottom of the motherboard there. This one around there. Nice and easy. So, what we'll do is we'll lay this down very, very quickly, because we don't have a cooler that we're installing. Just got the stock cooler here. Alrighty, so I've just put a couple of bolts in there for now, because I'm going to run some cables discreetly behind our board so we don't have cables running everywhere. So when we look inside with our nice glass panel, it all looks nice and neat and tidy in there. Like I said, you plug out. Oh yeah, man, 3060 Ti. That's pretty much the sweet spot for price to performance. Basically, if you're unaware, 3060 Ti is the same GPU that's in the 3070 and the 3070 Ti. It's called the NVIDIA GA102. I was talking about the GA102, which is the 3080. And we're going to have front panel audio here. Right down in the bottom corner. And finally,
do you want your settings in?
we've got front panel connectors. Power. Reset switch, which is actually marked LED on this case. It's just, we're not using the button for our RGB controller. We're controlling the RGB controller with software. So this is the only cable that has to come in from the very bottom there. And that's our USB 3. Not really much else we can do about that. There we go. Yeah.
Honestly, so I think I'll leave it here for an hour and see what happens. By the way, nice stream. Love from Vietnam.
Ah, thanks, man.
If you want further help, just send it to me a message via Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be easier. I'll reply when I can. Alrighty. Graphics card time. So we need slots 2 and 3 here. Nah. It's pretty crap. Unfortunately.
Really? Like this big ass envelope and you get fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but that's a bit shit.
You don't really get shit.
Join the rewards program now. Ooh, yay.
Join the rewards program.
Sounds like I'm like shopping at Coles or something.
Yeah, I know, right? MSI kind of not fully understanding the market segment that they're playing into with consumer PCs in the West.
I thought they didn't include like, you know, some stickers or something.
Nah.
It's actually been a while.
MSI knows how to make money. They really know how to do that really well. They're all over that. Alrighty. And so that can just get plugged in like that. You can put a single cable tie around that extra connector. And where is our, we need a single SATA cable. Alrighty. So she is all hooked up and ready to go. So now the most crucial part of the night is where we actually find out whether all the parts that we've got actually work. And whether I have something random to work through or whether it'll just turn on for me. And
Let's hope it just turns on.
let's just hope it turns on. But hey, if they always just turned on, I wouldn't have a job. And everyone would just do it all themselves. Didn't have problems, it wouldn't be a job.
Well, there's some signs of life.
Early signs of life. Looks like it's gonna be one of those more interesting nights. Alrighty, so what I'm doing right now is I'm clearing CMOS. Now that should have already been done because we're turning on the computer for the first time. But sometimes, for whatever reason, maybe it's a unit that was returned to Gigabyte and like factory, like renewed or something like that. And they didn't clear the CMOS. Twice, and we're still getting nothing. Have I got a diagnostic speaker somewhere? Yeah, what is that?
Oh. Oh.
What is that?
I don't know, it's this. Something. Whoa, I need to open the windows because that's actually really bad. It's like a burning, like, electricity kind of smell. Oh, something's burning in there. Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off. Oh.
Yeah. Is that what you're smelling?
Yeah. That's. Oh. It almost smells really weird. It smells like food as well?
That's what I fucking smell. I just thought it was like...
Nah. Because it's not the cat food, because he's eating all his food. Mum just did eat some noodles.
Maybe that's all the smell is.
No.
Because I don't have a good sense of smell. I don't trust my sense of smell for shit. Just FYI for everyone watching. I don't trust my sense of smell for shit. She's got the good sense of smell.
But it smells funky. I can smell like garlic and stuff. I can also like smell something.
Yeah, because if it's burning, I should be able to recognise that fucking smell. You know, I know what freaking fire smells like.
Maybe I was tripping.
Possibly. So you might just be getting conflated with just the new electrical smell, the smell of a power supply or something that's relatively new heating up for one of the first times ever.
Because all I can smell is some sort of
No.
post feed. All I can smell is like electrical stuff mixed with mum's food.
That'll be a post.
Yeah, it's doing something.
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
So it was just something as simple as memory seeding. So even though I installed the memory completely normally, you can have issues with the memory, or we could have a problem with one of the sticks physically, or we could have a problem with one of the slots physically. Like I said, you rule things out, not in. No, that looks like just a badly seated stick of memory. So that could happen to anyone. You could be building your PC for the first time, turn it on, it won't turn on, you clear CMOS, you do all that shit. And it's just something as simple as take the RAM out and plug it back in again. And you'll be like, oh, and just turn straight on. It can be as simple as that, or it could be something that I'm fucking around with for another half an hour, you don't know. But this is certainly a good sign because obviously as we're building for a young fella, he's going to be pretty fucking keen to get a hold of this PC. Okay. So we are going to go in just quickly at the start here, and we're going to flash a new BIOS. This looks like the right one. And so what this does is just make sure that Windows 11 is compatible right out of the box. So you don't have to change any settings or anything like that. So if you want to upgrade to Windows 11, you can. I'm still installing Windows 10 and will be for the foreseeable future actually. But all of my PCs, new PCs anyway, that are sold will be ready for Windows 11 with a couple of clicks of the mouse. So if you want that, you can have it. However, if you are using software or whatever and you need to stay on Windows 10, that's also not a problem at all, because that's the default that will install everything. And so yeah, this is definitely the risky part when you're doing the BIOS update. I've got everything plugged into a UPS, so if we were to lose power now, we're not going to do any damage. Because if you lose power while this is going on, your motherboard won't work anymore. You may or may not be able to reset it, so it could potentially be you needing to buy a whole new motherboard. So usually I don't recommend anyone touch BIOS updates or anything like that unless they have a reason to. It's alright for me doing it here in a controlled environment. Yeah.
Jeanette says yes, so can't wait. He has everything else ready to go.
Ah, nice, nice.
Grant says, where do I add extra storage for my son's PC? I'm not sure where to fit an extra internal hard drive.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that'll depend on the case that you've got. If you've got an older case and you don't necessarily have a room to mount another hard drive, you can get a 2.5-inch SATA SSD, and you can just put that behind your back panel. Don't bolt it up, just have the cables connected to it, and they can sit in there loose and just have the back panel on over the top of it. That's fine in a pinch. SATA SSDs have no moving parts, so as long as they're not jolting around everywhere, which it won't be if it's behind the back panel there, it's okay that it's not actually bolted down. You can leave that sort of thing loose in a pinch. So
it's for Talon PC that we built. There could be a
if it's PC I built.
Trays.
Yeah, if it's PC I built, send me a message on Facebook, and then I'll look up your specs in the case, and there'll definitely be positions there to mount extra drives and stuff. So one way or another. Yeah.
George wants to know, regarding NVMe SSD, would filling the drive affect the performance of the drive, or should there be some free space?
Yeah, so you should never get more than about 90%.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's realistically what you want. You'll actually see in Windows that that'll show the drive storage as being red when it's over 90%.
Hey Tim,
Yeah.
David then wants to know, hi Tim, how did my computer end up?
Who was that?
David then.
How did his computer end up?
Yeah. We did ship a PC today, so.
Oh yes,
that's
yes,
that one.
yes. That is David's. Yes. Sorry. Send me a message. I've been getting like 30 plus messages a day, so everyone's getting buried and stuff. I'm only one person. So just send me a quick reminder message and I'll send you through the tracking number, because that's all the way.
George says no worries, or anything. It's about the hard drive thing. Tim's concentrating.
Yeah. Okay.
Ah, yes. Richie wants to know, instead of asking this tomorrow, could you do an all-white PC?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. That's one of the main things I'll ask people. If you have a preference for like a light theme or a dark theme.
I have a slight bias towards white PCs.
Yeah.
I have one of my own. It's a streaming PC.
Yeah, so that can be done. Normally to do a white PC, it will cost like a little bit more.
Yeah, there's always
There's-
the white tax.
There's the white tax, man. Like it'll be like stuff like, I'll give you an example, right? Memory's a great example. 32 gigabytes of Corsair RGB RAM like this, $200 or $199 in black, or $209 in white. So there's an extra $10 there on the RAM. In the case, it'd be like $15 extra for the white version of the case and stuff like that.
Cooler.
The cooler, yeah. Cooler will be like,
Motherboard.
$10, $15 more than the black one. Yeah. The motherboards. It's just, yeah.
So how much white compared to black? I think you willing to pay for.
Yeah. Sometimes people do a nice black and white thing
Yeah.
going on. There are certain cases that sort of
Like
set you up for that.
In my case, that's a really good one to do black and white in.
Yeah.
Because it's got great accents.
Yeah.
David says thanks.
No worries. Yeah, just send me through like a bump message on Facebook, and I'll send you through that tracking number.
I have the receipt in my hand.
Oh,
It-
maybe Christine can do it for me right now, because she's got access to.
Yeah, I'll just go grab it, but keys. I know where it is. It's in the car.
You got it?
I know where it is. It's all good.
Alrighty. And US keyboard layout. Yeah, don't ever think like, oh, we're Australia, we sort of model on the UK, so I better select UK for the keyboard. Don't do that, because you get the get the pound sign instead of the dollar sign loaded for the keyboard, and then you'll get really pissed off, and then you'll have to go into the Windows settings to change it. Okay. Alright, updates and security. Let's get all of our updates sorted. Might take on download.
So,
Yeah, I know. Have you not been on Facebook the last couple of days?
no. She only
Sorry,
posted that 4 hours ago.
Christine's just seen baby photos from our friends.
Two little twin boys.
I saw them the other day.
This is a new photo though.
Oh well. I saw them the other day. They're babies.
They're so little.
I know. That's what babies are like. They're generally little.
Well, you'd want to hope so.
It's generally the way they are. Okay. So we got all that going on. So let's get some other software. So there's our graphics card driver. Actually outputting at 1080p now. Okay, so we've got a gaming PC, so we'll set it up with the usual gaming apps. No. Okay, so we should be looking pretty good here. Alright, so we'll just set up MSI Afterburner here and our on-screen overlay so we can see how she runs. Okay, let's... What? That's fucking weird. There we go. That's stupid thing. I want the stuff that comes with our motherboard and not third-party software. Sweet.
Because mixing crystal
Huh?
using all
Oh yeah.
taking crystal out. This boss. Girls. And gives me girlfriends.
Sweet. Alright. This has only got a few minutes to go. Well, one thing I better set up the hard drive before I completely forget about it. If I do that, I'm teaching these guys how to do this. There's our storage hard drive. There's our RGB Fusion app there to control our RGB lighting. Sweet. And so we just got that last restart to do, and then we can run some gaming benchmarks on it, and then we'll stress test it, make sure it's all sweet, and then yeah, tomorrow morning you guys can come pick it up. Its final cumulative Windows updates. And we can run some gaming benchmarks on it. So this is Heaven, High, no anti-aliasing. And so this number here below RAM is the frames per second. Alrighty, so that was heaven there, just on the out of the box settings. Next one we do is Valley. Same resolution, but it's a more demanding benchmark. We also run it on higher settings here as well.
Like, holy shit, status report. What's going on? Why is there a helicopter? Oh.
Alrighty, that looks like it's run through. So the next one we do is our 4K benchmark. massive dogs and they jump all over each other. Alrighty, so yeah, we're coming up to the end of the night. So yeah, definitely a 4K 60 frames a second card if you wanted to run on a massive 4K screen or something like that. Most people are more than happy with just 1080 and 1440p for gaming and the smoother frame rate and all that it brings. Alrighty, so we've had MSI Afterburner here, logging our temps while we've been doing everything else. But now we're going to stress it out a bit more than just running those gaming benchmarks. Yeah.
I want to do what you're doing for a job. What type of qualifications do I need?
Oh, jeez, man. There's no like specific TAFE course or anything that covers it. Basically, I don't know how I got into it because I've just been doing it like my whole life since I was a kid. So that gives you a bit of an idea. A lot of people in the industry, they've either been doing it for like their whole life as an amateur and then have gone professional, or they're from some other part of the tech industry and they've decided that they really like the hands-on nature of building and stuff like that, and they moved from, you know, being a systems administrator or something like that to just building PCs and stuff or something like that. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of relatively simple things to learn, but a lot of different stuff, and you know, the only way to really get into it is to start doing it. But then it's incredibly hard to just start out in the industry and like open up a new business or something like that. If you're not like established in some way, it can take years. So yeah.
Mark says countdown to Amazon.
Mark.
Christie.
Ah, yes. Yep. Yeah, so yours will be early next week. Probably Monday or Tuesday, I think, at this stage, off the top of my head.
Mark says this is a great idea, streaming builds.
Yeah, well, I got the idea randomly when someone just wanted me to like take all these photos while I was building their PC, and I was like, let's not bother with that. I can't be bothered actually stopping what I'm doing all the time and taking photos. Why don't I just live stream it for you? And you know, there's a guy in America who does very similar stuff to what I'm doing, and I just sort of thought, I'm like, why not do something similar to this guy? And basically that's how I started doing this, and this is basically born in COVID, the live stream PC builds, just because so many people were getting into PCs, so many people were wanting to learn how to build and like upgrade their own PCs and stuff like that, so it just sort of fell in place. Yeah. Yes, what's the time? It's the time now. 9 o'clock. I'll probably be midnight. 1 o'clock. Sleep. Anytime after 9:30 tomorrow will be fine. If you're before then, you might get half asleep. Morning Tim. Don't recommend it. But no, we're just going to let this run like this for the next 90 minutes. I just log the temperatures here in hardware monitor. Make sure it's all running as expected. And then you guys can pick it up and take it home, start downloading your games and all that kind of stuff. But yes, I mean, on like as is right now, I don't see any issue with it. I don't see any reason why it won't pass the stress test. So, happy days. But yeah, this is pretty much the end of the night. So if anyone's got any other final questions for me before I sign off, now's your time to speak. Sweet. How we going, babe? We all done for the night? Wouldn't be able to tell you, to be honest. Wouldn't know specifically how noisy different brands of hard drives are. It's just not something I've ever really looked into, because nobody has ever asked about hard drive noises, because it's like not really fan noise and stuff like that in the computer. Yeah, not so much hard drive noise. So if you want a specific answer, I'd have to research that one. Oh well, yeah. I mean, you'll have to go through everything.
Is your cooler mounted right? Like, have a look at that.
if the cooler's not mounted right, it should still post. It should post and then have a CPU temperature alert on your motherboard. Most motherboards will have some sort of a function like that that'll let you know that there's something wrong with your cooler. If it's not posting at all, like I said, keyboard, mouse, display cable into your graphics card, power cable into the power supply, nothing else connected to it. Try reseating the RAM, try reseating the graphics card, unplug the USB connectors to the motherboard, unplug anything that you don't need, and then work your way back from there. Because what you want to do is hopefully start ripping things off, and with basically nothing else connected to it, the board will turn on. And then that tells you that the board's okay. Then you can plug in like the extra stick of RAM and see if that is the problem. And then you can just keep connecting things back until you work out what your problem is, which is the thing that you've connected that will stop the PC from booting. But that's the process, man. Like, there's no easy way around it or anything like that. You can have knowledge and experience and stuff like that that'll help point you in the right direction when you're seeing certain faults on certain products and certain situations and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, fundamentally, everyone has to do that process, whether you've got 20 years experience or 6 months experience. You can't ever assume things. You rule things out. You don't just rule them in. If that makes sense. But yes, I think we might leave it here for the night.
Actually, that says nice. After 9:30, can't thank you enough. This is so awesome.
No worries. And yeah, you guys are nice and local anyway. So if anything dies under warranty, you don't have to come far or stuff around too much to get it fixed. So it's the advantage when you're right here in Brisbane with me. It's like if you're interstate, you know, obviously you can send, if you have a warranty failure, yeah, you can send your PC back to me and I'll fix it all for you and send it back to you and you don't have to pay anything. But you'll be without your PC for a couple of weeks. That's the problem, right? So for most people, like say if like your graphics card died or your motherboard died or something like that, and you're in Melbourne, right? What's quickest and easiest is if I refer you to one of my friends in Melbourne. You go in there, they charge you bare minimum for labour and a new graphics card, and they'll put in that new graphics card or that new motherboard, and you'll be back and ready using your computer that same day. And then you just have to wait for the refund to come back for your faulty card or whatever under warranty. And usually that works out better than you being without your computer for 2 weeks for people who are interstate. So it's pretty simple like way that it works with warranties like that. So obviously, like, yeah, that's the only downside if you're interstate, and it's not really that big of a downside because there are systems there to deal with it quickly and efficiently. So the only thing is getting it fixed. If you're interstate and you want it fixed quick, then you'll have to pay a little bit of labour to the guy down there doing the work. But then obviously your whatever part is under warranty, so you'll get a refund from me for the component. So yeah, that's generally the simplest way to work it out. But then obviously, yeah, if you're in Brisbane or in southeast Queensland or something like that, then it's really easy because you just have to plan a time with me to come by and drop your computer in. And if you plan it with me, you can sit there and wait in the car and I'll get that part swapped out for you, like while you wait. Just plan it in with me so I can, one, make sure I've got the correct component on hand for you, and two, that I'm free and I'm available to just do the job for you quickly, so you're not held up and waiting too long. Alright. Anyway, might leave it there for the night. So yeah, tomorrow we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming up. So we've got the Dynamic 11 ML fan build. So that'll be like the main event. But we're also building those two PCs for that awesome. We got the nominee for Mother of the Year over here, and then we got nominee for Father of the Year tomorrow, who's buying two identical PCs for him and his son to do sim racing in car. That's awesome. I think that's fucking awesome. So anyway, so be sure to catch those two builds. So we'll do the two twin builds first. So pretty simple process. I'm just gonna assemble both of them, and then we'll just install Windows onto one of them, and then I'll use a Cronus True Image to create a clone of the drive in the PC that we install Windows on, and then that can go into the twin computer, because it's going to be an identical system. It's got all the same components, so all the same drivers and everything for Windows will be the same. It just needs to get two different product keys at the end. So no problems there. So we don't have to do the Windows installation again for that computer. I can just clone the drive, and then we can start the main event for the night, which is the ML build. So yes, happy days. But I'll Christine's ready to finish up, I will say goodbye. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all tomorrow in the next video.